You may say, Oliver Tambo was not your leader, but today you are free because of Oliver Tambo. You may say, Walter Sisulu was not your leader, but today you enjoy freedom because of Walter Sisulu. So whether or not you support him, he's part of your history. He's part of your being. And it is those leaders that traveled from country to country and said, we are South Africans. We are oppressed by a system of racial discrimination called apartheid. We need your help in solidarity to assist us to wage our struggle for freedom. I'm aware that there are many who wish to diminish the status of the United Nations so that they can enjoy hegemony and control over us. We can never agree that one country becomes the director of all our international affairs. We prefer to be in a body where all of us have a voice. And I tell you a secret, on the 29th of May, I will be voting ANC. Thank you. You had your freedom fighters in the liberation movements travel and go outside the world into exile. Many of them had never held a gun, had never been in underground, didn't know how to pile dynamite and ensure it can explode, didn't know how to wage a guerrilla war. Who taught you that? Who supported you in that learning? It was countries in the international community that our leaders approached. You may say, Oliver Tambo was not your leader, but today you are free because of Oliver Tambo. You may say, Walter Sisulu was not your leader, but today you enjoy freedom because of Walter Sisulu. So whether or not you support him, he's part of your history. He's part of your being. And it is those leaders that traveled from country to country and said, we are South Africans. We are oppressed by a system of racial discrimination called apartheid. We need your help in solidarity to assist us to wage our struggle for freedom. Country to country to country. And many, many countries said, we will support you in whatever way we can. Even countries that didn't have high levels of freedom or economic development, such as Palestine, said, we will train your people. We'll give you the little food that we have. We'll allow you to live in this camp. So, having coined this notion that when you have a struggle locally, you need international solidarity to support you to wage that struggle. You therefore cannot, having created this force, suddenly, because you are free, say, well, yes, there was international solidarity, you helped us, but now we are too busy developing our country to help you. That's not Ubuntu. That is horrible betrayal. And we could never, as South Africans, be like that. Our call to the world for international solidarity placed on our shoulders an obligation that where there is harm, we must be there to respond. And where there are those who stood with us, shoulder to shoulder, we must be there to respond, to act against harm. So this is my response on why South Africa. Now, others come and say, well, all right, we hear you on that one, but we want to know, why did you go to a United Nations institution? We don't feel the United Nations is a body that can do much. Well, it's important that we don't forget that the United Nations has held the world together without a major war for almost 75 years. It's an important number to refer to. We haven't had a third world war, and that is because we have a global body in which all of us can speak and represent a perspective which others may join us in on basis of consensus or majority decision. I believe that the United Nations remains and must remain the premier global multilateral body. And I say that to you because I'm aware that there are many who wish to diminish the status of the United Nations so that they can enjoy hegemony and control over us. We can never agree that one country becomes the director of all our international affairs. We prefer to be in a body where all of us have a voice. And this is why the United Nations. And if you feel sometimes that you cannot support the UN, be wary that what you will be supporting will be unilateralism. You'll be supporting a hegemonic control of our ideas, our beliefs, our perspectives, and you'll be destroying a body that allows all of us to have a voice. So it's important that we protect the United Nations. I'm not saying it's perfect. I believe, and South Africa's government believes, it is in need of fundamental reform, but we don't want to destroy it. We believe it's an important multilateral body which must continue to exist, but which we must fundamentally reform in order to make it more responsive to the conditions that are prevalent in the 21st century. Remember, it was created in 1948, and so it doesn't fully reflect all that we have experienced in the 20th and now in the 21st century. One of the things we're seeing is an inability to execute peace enforcement. We need to build that capacity. Another is that in terms of permanent membership of the Security Council, it's totally unrepresentative, with the P5 being the permanent members who exercise a very undemocratic veto. That has to be changed. So reform is important. Finally, let us make sure that the world understands that this is a struggle about freedom and human dignity. Yes, indeed, there is the element of religion, because we know the impact of Islamophobia in the world. We know the hatred that exists, but this is a struggle for human dignity and freedom. And you can be any religion and participate in this struggle. So let us diversify the contribution to the mass mobilization and speak to all and say, join in, because we are about humanity and ensuring that other human beings are like ourselves. Some of you may recall the response I gave in Parliament when I was being questioned as to why. And I said, well, I'm surprised that a South African leader will pose such a question to me, because the South African leader who's posing the question enjoyed the privilege of apartheid when I had no privileges whatsoever. But I am part of those who said, we will negotiate and conclude toward building a united South Africa. And now that you enjoy the privilege of my magnanimity, you don't want to be magnanimous toward others. This freedom was not just for you. This freedom was for you to be obligated to seek it out for others. So that is what I hope all of us will appropriate. And when any person comes to you and challenges you and says, as they've said to me, why aren't you worried about this? Why aren't you looking at Africa? Why don't you look at townships? Why are you concerned about Gaza? I say to them, I enjoy my freedom because of others. I know my freedom doesn't belong only to me. I know my freedom is a gift to me to share the achieving of that freedom with others. And that is why we exist. That is how we must conduct ourselves. I thank you very much for being here, and I tell you a secret. On the 29th of May, I will be voting ANC. Thank
There you have it, guys. Our African leaders are really doing their best to show how much they've envisioned the future, a sustainable future for Africa and its inhabitants. But you know, here in Kwazemy, we also love to hear from the people of Africa and lovers of Africa in the comments. So we encourage you to watch the videos as we post them here on Kwazemy, and do not fail to share your comments in the comments where you express your views, especially as people who love Africa and really wish the best for the future of Africa. So whatever it is you've heard and whatever it is you have a feeling about the speech you've just heard, please make sure to put it down in the comments. Thank you for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please share and like and subscribe, because that's the way you support Kwazemy as a channel, an Afrocentric channel, where we try to understand deeper issues in African history and hopefully develop a collective intelligence on how we wish to build the Africa we want to see as people of Africa. See you in the next one.